Hey gals and ghouls, Sandra here and welcome back to my channel. We're doing Halloween Plan With Me edition. This is about to get real corny, so hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, this is going to be a really special edition. It's basically just gonna have lots of Halloween themed things, but if you're like me and love Halloween and fall, you're really gonna enjoy this. This is more of a mixed media sort of video, so if you're not really into like putting random things on your planner, then you might not necessarily like the paint part of this, but I think it's really fun to try new mediums on your planner. And I'm constantly inspired also by you guys when you tag me in your photos on Instagram and stuff, to try new things, because I think it's just fun. And if you don't like it, well then, no harm, no foul, at least you tried it. I'm using this really cheap acrylic right here that I actually picked up, I think, at Hobby Lobby. If I can find it online, I will link it in the description box below for you guys, but I did try it out on some paper before putting it onto my planner, so you might want to keep that in mind when you do things like this. I'm using one of my new sets, Terrifying Teddies. It is on the sassyclub.com, so if you want to pick it up, go check it out. Links will be in the description box below. And I'm going to be stamping them all on the bottom of this planner layout because I want them to make kind of like a border. And for my monthly overview, I don't normally plan a lot of things ahead of time, so I figured, it's alright to use that extra space down there because I know I'm not going to fill up all of these boxes anyway. And I am using some archival ink for this specific process because the paint is laying on top of the paper. It makes it so that normal ink, like the Sassy ink, it's not going to absorb because of the fact that it's a pigment based ink. So you might want to keep that in mind when you're doing this, that you don't want to necessarily use something that's going to just sit on the top of it. So I definitely recommend an archival type of ink for this sort of thing. And then I'm creating a little mask here that I just stamped onto a post-it note, and I'm doing this so that I can overlap a stamp and they kind of look like one's behind the other. This is something I was taught a long time ago in card making when I took that right out of college, and it's a really just fun technique. I should have done better with the little ear part there, but I just went ahead and filled it in and it looked just fine to me anyway. And so I went ahead and did that side, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here, and I'm using that same post-it tape, and I just would rather just reuse as much as possible. And then I'm using my little eraser trick, which if you have an image that has a really solid area that you have trouble getting like that solid image to stamp right, I recommend going over it with a little eraser, and the ink should absorb better on top of it. And I know it sounds crazy, but it does actually work. And then I'm doing the same thing. I created a mask off camera with my little Franken teddy there, and I wanted to overlap like a little pumpkin behind him, so I did that all for that one thing, but I really love the way it turned out. As you can see, it's adorable. And then I'm just adding the rest of the little Terrifying Teddies here to the bottom, and then adding that little bow there because it wouldn't be a sassy teddy without a bow, would it? Then I'm using one of my other new stamp sets called Witch's Brew. I love this stamp set. I'm gonna say that a lot in this video, but they're all Halloween themed, so there's so much fun, and I honestly think you could use them besides Halloween because there's a lot of things that you can kind of like multi-purpose when it comes to stamps, if I can talk. I use that post-it note tape to create like a little barrier there as well, so that I could just mask off certain areas and stamp webs. If you watch my videos, generally you see me do this kind of stuff quite often, so it's nothing new to you. But if you're new to my videos or my channel in general, this is just something I do because I like to create patterns, and I think it looks really cool when you pull up the tape that anywhere that tape was, you don't see that stamped image, so it creates a really cool printed sort of look. And my new thing is to do half boxes full of patterns. Normally I do the full box, but I'm just like in a half box sort of mood, if you guys noticed from my last fall plan with me video. And then I'm going to be working on the top of the borders of this planner. Basically the banner, or the header, I guess is what you would call it. I can never think of names when I'm doing videos. And this is my third attempt to film this video because for some reason some footage got corrupted when I was filming. So that was really a big bummer. It took me a while to figure that out. So I went ahead and stamped these with that same spider web, and then I'm using this distressed ink in Spice Spruce. I think I just fully made a name. Iced Spruce. I can never say that. These names though. And I'm just rubbing this around to distress it. It just basically kind of creates a really kind of older sort of look to it. Distressed, exactly what it sounds like. They're not made for stamping, just in case you ever try that, because I did that and I learned the hard way. They're not really going to give you a clear image, but they give you really cool looks where you can just distress around, and you guys have seen me use these before as well in my other videos. And I just went ahead and glued those with my Tombow Monomulti, and then I'm cutting off any excess paper because I kind of just eyeballed them when I cut them, and that works for me. And then I am also taking out some of my washi tape from last year. I think this is some tape that I got from Michael's, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But it kind of just matches with the overall look, and I think it really matches well with the top of the headers. So I decided to add that down there. I could have made some extra paper strips to add to that, but you know, hindsight, I didn't really think about it. I have this Bubble Alpha as well as Witch's Brew that I'm going to be stamping out so I can watercolor them. This is something you could do a lot of times ahead of times before you work on your planner spread, so you save yourself some time, because then you can just create kind of like little, I guess, your own version of ephemera or die cuts. It's really fun for me personally. I'm using that same acrylic ink I used to layer onto the pages, and I'm going in with like the more diluted color, and then underneath on the bottom I'm pulling up the darker color. I'm not sure how apparent that is in the video, but I start off with the lighter color and then I use the darker color on the bottom and pull up. That way it almost creates kind of like an ombre sort of look, but very like subtly, and I really like that way that turned out. And then I'm coloring in these little spider dudes over here. I actually could have just stamped those onto the pages and watercolored them on the pages, but for some reason I was on like a kick with doing it on actual paper and making more work for myself. So this is the way I did it this time around. I really like the way they turned out though. They were really cute. And then I just went ahead and colored in the pumpkins as well. And I didn't want to use super duper traditional colors for this spread. I kind of wanted to do something a little funkier because I figured I was going to use a lot of those same traditional colors for my weekly layouts, so I thought it'd be fun to do something completely different for this one. So hopefully you guys like it. I really like experimenting with different colors like that. So I made some green pumpkins and I put a little bit of orange and then a little bit of pink, so they kind of like still looked like pumpkins, but like maybe not just one solid color, because I thought it'd be fun to just do something a little bit different. So I personally love the way they turned out, and that's the great thing about working in your own individual planner. It's whatever you like, so there is no wrong or right, you know. I think a lot of people put pressure on themselves to, oh, it has to look just like this. You know, it really doesn't. It's whatever you like. I went ahead and went over the eyes with this little gel pen that I had from Sakura, because when you use that chalky watercolor palette, it tends to sometimes muddle down small details in your stamps. So that's something to keep in mind. And then I just went ahead and cut all these items out, and all those letters I cut just so that I can make that title, and I really love the way they turned out. I will have an actual die coming out for the bubble letters, so you guys won't have to cut them anymore if you're someone who likes to do die cutting and stuff. And I'll have more videos showing me die cutting. I just haven't gotten around to editing some of the stuff that I filmed for you guys, but you'll see that soon. And look how cute that is. I freaking love that. So yeah, I think it was all worth it, the work right there. Then I'm stamping the little spider there with a little string, and then I take that same little head that I watercolored, and I'm just gluing it over, because for this type of thing it's a lot easier to just stamp that image so you don't have to cut out the little legs and then put the little head right over it. So just a really fun way to take the work out of it right there. And then I knew I wanted to add some more to the header, so I went ahead and glued some pumpkins over there, and I was deciding how I wanted them. Thankfully I get to fast forward this video, because sometimes with placement I tend to second guess myself, and finally I just have to be like, okay, this is where it's going, this is where it's going. And this was just kind of hanging off the edge, and I actually liked it like that, hence why I put it that way. And then I decided I needed to do one more little image, which is why it's nice to just have a lot of these pre-stamped if you want to save yourself time, so you don't have to actually do this, what I'm doing here. I decided I wanted to use the Frank and Teddy on the right page on the top of the header. I just thought that would be really cute, and I think he's adorable. He's one of my favorites from the set, and I had a lot of fun drawing him. So I'm using that same paint that I used for the letters, and again, it's just so all of it matches. I like it to all be really matchy for some reason in this spread. And I did his jacket with the pink, and I'm going over his little eyes, and then I just cut him off because I didn't need his whole body for this specific header, and then I'm gluing him down in that area. So I think he turned out really cute. Little Frank and Teddy. I'm really having fun with all these little characters. I think that's part of the reason I love Halloween. You can just be very like whimsical and childish with everything that you do. So even though I'm kind of like that in my everyday life, let's be honest. Then I'm doing some script using my Tombow brush. I'll try to remember this time to actually link it because I get so many questions about it. And then I'm using my Planner Doodle stamp set, the little cake from that stamp set, which is like a classic, and I love it for marking birthdays. So I'm marking Chase's birthday with that, and I just really like the way that it looks there, and I just stamped it with that same colored pink that I used earlier. And then those are some more that I'm going to be using throughout the spread. I'm going to add another spider because I love that little spider dude. We need to give him a name. I don't know. Farnsworth Henry something. So I decided to stamp him again right in the one area where I'm going to put one of my friend's birthdays as well. And I used that little piece of post-it to cover the little string part that I didn't want. And it's just really easy to just mask that off with a little piece of paper and stamping, as you saw me do. And then I'm again gluing down the little piece that I had watercolored earlier, but I could have watercolored directly to the page. I do this all the time and I don't have any issues with it. So since I know people ask me a lot about that, as long as you don't use too much water, you're not going to get warping. So here I am just adding some more of the little images that I cut throughout this page. I just figure it just gives it an extra Halloween sort of touch. And of course, Frank and Teddy couldn't be alone. He needed his little pumpkin gang up there, including the little pumpkin with teddy ears. And I added one down there as well. And then I'm just deciding where else I want to put these throughout the page. And this is a great way if you make a mistake on your page. You could simply stamp one of these out and cut them and then use that to cover it as well. So that's a little trick if you ever have something like a smudge or something that, you know, you didn't mean to do. And I'm using this stamp set called Planet, which is also from my website. I'll try to remember to link all the different sets that I used for this, but I wanted to use that little TV and mark The Walking Dead coming back. Woo woo, where all my fans at? Of course I had to mark that. I'm so excited for that to come back, even though I'm so not, because I don't want to find out what happened at the end of the season, because yeah, they may have just killed one of my favorite characters and I might just be really pissed off after that episode. So yeah, I went ahead and marked my friend's birthday, as you can see there, and then I'm adding a little heart over the spider just because I randomly thought that would look cute, and you guys know me, I need no excuse to add hearts or stars to my layouts. And then I'm going over that with a little pen lined area there, or the same pen that I used. And then I'm using the Llama Love stamp set because I wanted to add a little character in another one of the little boxes where I know I have stuff going on, and these are just so much fun to use. And I love using the little shock face. I call that the Home Alone face because it's like the face that Macaulay Culkin always makes on the cover. I think that's so funny. So yeah, that's what that reminds me of every time. And I made a little word bubble because I like to kind of mix my doodling in with my stamping, and I think that looks really cute. And then I'm using the Sassy Life stamp set, which I haven't used in a while actually, but you know, it really correlates to a lot of things I do, like when I get my nails done. So I stamped that cute little nail bottle, and there's all kinds of other like girly little things in there, so I really love it. I did actually, you know, now that I think about it, I used a little weight from there in my last layout, I believe. So I do actually use it quite often, but I guess using more of those icons is what I meant. And then I'm using the Emoji Girl stamp set where you get tons of little heads where you can put little girls on your spread, and I love this one and I want to use it more often, so I'm making it a point. And it comes with that little word bubble, and since I was hanging out with my friend that day, what's up Stephanie, hashtag Arizona Planet Girl, so we had lots of fun. By the time I'm putting this up, I've already hung out with her and she's freaking awesome, so that was so much fun. And then I'm using another one of the little mini teddies from Terrifying Teddies, just so that he's like popped up there, and again with the masking tape. But anyway, you guys, I didn't get to show you the rest of this layout, showing you how I made this awesome sidebar with the Hocus Pocus quote, because my camera got corrupt, the footage did, and so I'm really sad about that. But I hope you guys like this layout anyway and enjoyed it, and I will be back with more videos, so be sure and like this video so I know to make more, and leave me some comments and tell me what your favorite thing was from this whole spread. And if you don't already, follow me on all my social media links and all that good stuff that will be linked in the description box below. Bye guys! Well, if you guys are still here and you've made it this far, be sure and check out thesassyclub.com for all these awesome stamp sets, and also be sure and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any awesome videos. Thanks guys, bye.